Ian Machado Garry, Shavkat Rachmanov. Someone's O has got to go. This is a really interesting co-main event for the UFC. Number one contenders bout for the welterweight championship. Winner's going to face Belal Muhammad at some point in 2025. Definitely a fascinating matchup. Shavkat Rachmanov, 18-0, 18 finishes, seems unstoppable. Ian Machado Garry, very intelligent fighter, 15-0. We've seen him grow over the last couple years in real time here. We've seen him, dominate Neil Magny with 3 10-8 rounds. We saw him against Jeff Neal really control the distance really well, fight off the back foot exceptionally well, securing a split decision victory. And then we also saw him against Michael Venom Page, and he used grappling and his jiu-jitsu skills to win that fight, which was kind of a shocker, as Ian Machado Garry throughout his career has been known as an excellent striker. Shavkat, he definitely has knockout power, and he definitely has elite grappling, and that is his biggest advantage over Ian Machado Garry. I think we've seen a lot of takes out there that if Shavkat can take Ian Machado Garry down, it's going to be all over, and we really don't know that for sure. But in training, it has been reported that Shavkat has submitted Ian Machado Garry in training. These guys used to train together before, and Shavkat submitted him. Ian's admitted that he was submitted by Shavkat, but that was 2 to 3 years ago. A lot has changed in that time span. Last year, Ian Machado Garry, left Leon Edwards' gym, and he has been training with Diego Lima and Charles Oliveira. Diego Lima is a very, crafty MMA coach, very smart and intelligent guy. Charles Oliveira, one of the craftiest fighters in the history of mixed martial arts. And these guys are really intelligent, and they've really shown that Ian has turned into a really good grappler in just a short time. Look what he did against Michael Venom Page. That was 6 months into training with Diego Lima and Charles Oliveira. That was about 6 months ago now. What is he going to look like, with 6 more months under his belt in grappling? So this is going to be really interesting. Michael Chiesa, who's UFC fighter, he said that these guys have trained together before, and they kind of know each other's tendencies. They know they know how the other's going to fight. And, they have a huge advantage in that regard of knowing what to expect from their opponent. They've felt each other out before. They know what's going to happen. So it's kind of up to whoever can bring something different to the table. And ideally, that's Ian Machado Garry with his grappling. He wasn't much of a grappler 2-3 years ago. And now we saw him win a UFC fight due to jiu-jitsu. He almost submitted Michael Venom Page in the first round. And, definitely a very, very crafty fighter, really intelligent fighter. Ian Machado Garry, excellent fight IQ, and that could be the difference in this fight. However, Shavkat can't ignore 18 finishes in 18 fights. The guy seems to be superhuman. Definitely has the superior grappling, even though that's an area where Ian's really improved over the years. Maybe he could throw Shavkat off guard by using his grappling, but Shavkat is a really strong fighter. However, he hasn't fought in a year, and I think that's going to be a little bit of a factor in this fight. Maybe he's a little rusty early. Ian, I think he's probably faster on the feet, but I think Shavkat's easily more of the submission threat. For me, for Ian's style, he really likes to control the distance, but he doesn't really have a long reach to do that. So he's not like where he's John Jones, where he can just kind of reach out, keep you at bay, and just kind of go like this for an entire fight. He can be caught, and I think maybe Shavkat does catch him. I think that's highly likely that Shavkat in a 5-round fight eventually gets a submission. He's never fought for 5 rounds before. Neither has Ian. So I think if this fight goes later, someone gets fatigued, someone makes a mistake, and it's all over. Who's that going to be? Who has the better gas tank? I'm not sure. But Shavkat, with his 18 finishes, I think that's going to be really hard to avoid for 5 rounds because he can beat you on the feet and he can beat you in grappling and he can submit you very easily. So I think that's going to be a really challenging for Ian Machado Garry. However, I do see a path to victory for him. Maybe he can control the range for 5 rounds and keep Shavkat off of him. That's going to be exhausting, and it's going to be very difficult to do. But maybe he can do it. Who's to say that he can't? And I think he can really control the striking and the stand-up game really well. So I think we're more than likely going to see Ian try to just keep Shavkat off of him. But Demetrius Johnson talked about how maybe Ian can mix in a takedown here and there, and that would really throw Shavkat off. And maybe he can try to get a quick submission attempt, with his jiu-jitsu skills, and really just throw off Shavkat. Something that Shavkat hasn't seen Ian do before, and he shared a lot of training time with Ian. So maybe if he sees something a little bit different, it would catch him off guard, and that would be very interesting. I can see Ian attempting that. I don't know how it will go for him if he doesn't get that submission, but it might be a risk worth taking. Final prediction. This is a really tough fight for me. I think Shavkat will eventually catch Ian Machado Garry. However, I just kind of have this feeling that Ian's going to be able to get the job done here. I don't know how. Maybe he keeps him off him and wins a decision. Maybe he throws him off guard. Maybe he just dominates him with quicker, faster striking. Shavkat likes to keep his chin up. And it's kind of easily hittable, and maybe Ian can land a good head kick here. Ian has some of the best kicks in MMA, and maybe he can beat Shavkat. It seems like it's going to be an uphill battle for Ian Machado Garry. It's going to be a really tough night for him, one way or another. I think if he wins this fight, he's going to explode onto the scene here. He's going to be, he's going to get the opportunity to fight Belal Muhammad. I think Shavkat definitely is going to be a big name here as well if he wins this fight. Whoever wins this fight is going to become a major star in the UFC, in my opinion. I think if Ian loses this fight, I think he's going to go back to the drawing board here. He's still a young guy, and he can learn from a loss. We've seen him really improve with his fights recently, over the last year. I think a loss, he's going to take a lot from a loss, and he, will be back, and, he will fight for a belt eventually. Shavkat, still a young guy himself, just 29. I think kind of the same thing here. But, we know what Shavkat is. He's just a very strong fighter, and he's going to catch someone eventually, and he's very dangerous. But yeah, for this fight, gut feeling, Ian Machado Garry by split decision. Yeah, bold take, but that's kind of what I'm feeling in my gut here, is that Ian finds a way to get the job done.